Wait a minute, that ask accent actually worked?
Hi, I don't use this site much anymore, and I'm not sure why you want to talk to me to be honest, but feel free to ask whatever. I'm someone that's interested in a DeviantArt group you used to be a part of, PMD Explorers, and was wondering if you want to answer some questions about your time at the group. I have a Google Doc with some questions ready if you want to answer there, or we can do it here. Probably easier if you just ask me things. In that vein, I have to ask, what's your interest in a DA group from around 10 years ago? Especially that one, since it was pretty contentious. Pretty much started when I found the original group creator and then found the PMDE group they made and thought, a PMD group, and started delving specifically into that. I love PMD, so I was going to be curious, and now here I am, making content specifically about it. No one else was doing it, so I only found out about it a couple of years ago anyway. Understood. I guess I should preface that I personally think it's best left in the past as it's riddled with issues, but I'll do my best to answer any curiosities if I can. Alright, there's 6 questions, 3 bonus that I added in there because why not? And if you're okay with answering some of them or leaving some parts out, that's understandable. Number 1, do you remember how you got into working on PMD Explorers? Yep, I was asked. It was pitched as a fun project intended to give people prompts to encourage them to write/draw/whatever creative method, which I thought was a great goal. Number 2, favorite and least liked part of working on PMDE? Favorite was the community. Actually, seeing the previous goal realized was very pleasant, and pulling a lot of creative people into one place around one idea was a uniquely cool thing to see. Least favorite thing was that I butted heads with the administration a lot over disagreements, and I found some of their issues to be petty and stupid. Guess that leads into the next one. 3. Were you ever treated well by the members and admins, and were you okay with certain things? I.e. jokes about taking things up the butt and Shroomsworth being humiliated all the time. So, in retrospect, I think the members and most of the admins were fine. It's mostly PK/Marl. They were both generally responsible for putting those ideas out in public in the first place, and no, I generally wasn't really super happy to have those risque things out in public. Yeah, I can understand that. 4. How did the decision for Shroomsworth and PK being shipped come to fruition, and how okay were you with it? I wasn't against it, but to pull the perspective back a bit, I was one writer out of several. The stuff I wrote, I did my best to make it make sense that they would have a romantic interest. I also generally tried to write her as likable, but this highlights the problem in that with multiple writers, you get multiple different takes on characters. For me, it wasn't really shipping. I made it a canon thing that progressed after a big story event. I don't really like to push romance as a story element, so it was important to me that I did, that it worked well. But you get other perspectives. PK often drew them yelling at each other and fighting. Group members would draw more obvious shipping things of them being lovey-dovey. I didn't really have anything to do with all of that. So the decision to make them an item was yours and PK approved of it? I don't 100% remember the split on that, but yeah, basically. There wasn't anything personal to it, I just figured it'd neatly wrap up the story I was writing and would be a fun subject for the group to work around with. I think that mostly worked out. At the time, people were pretty happy with that as a resolution to what was happening. Alright, next one's going to be a big one, and I won't blame you if you feel uncomfortable answering it. Again, you can tell me to skip it if you want. Just wanted to give a heads up. The circumstances surrounding the group are uncomfortable in general, so I get it. Number 5. Was there any reason why Resignation has a sex scene? Yep, because that was not supposed to be public. At the time, I was more than happy to make things like that for my friends. PK really liked the dynamic, and at the time we were friends, and I was also personally riding the high of people actually liking my work. So I added that as an extra because it made them happy. However, I did not really want that to go out to anyone else. The story was intentionally made to not show that to the public, but it ended up being illustrated and posted around by PK on Tumblr. So, of course, everybody saw it. Probably the first stupid mistake I made was not backing out then, but at the time, a lot of the feedback was positive even on that, so I was encouraged to not let it bother me. Did PK give you a heads up ahead of time, or did they just throw it out there with no warning? It has been a long time, so I don't want to speak out of turn on that, but my recollection was that they spent time on the illustration and then kind of just posted it to Tumblr when finished. Generally, I was pretty mortified to hear about it from group members, but also in retrospect, I understand it could have been avoided if I just didn't make it that way to begin with. My mistake in the end. Okay then. 6. Were there any ideas you had for Shroomsworth, Rhodes, and the other characters' future had PMD Explorers continued? Hard to say. The group started falling apart after a while, and also I was going through a lot of things in my personal life through the last year of its existence. It was one of those situations where it's hard to focus on the characters when there's so much going on with the people running it. The passion wasn't there after a while. That's understandable. There was a transitional period where PK went off hands with PMDE because they were gearing up to work on Flora, and the hard reality was that their illustrations carried a lot of the interest people had. Also a bunch of other things, interpersonal issues among administrators and group members. It was a mess. I remember reading about some of that. What a train wreck. So yeah, sorry that answer isn't really a fun one, but that's kind of the problem. Group stopped being about the thing it was supposed to be about. It's fine, better an answer than none. Anything you want to add before I ask the bonus questions? I'm not sure what else to add. Maybe that I really like the good parts. Saw a lot of people come into their own as an artist as a result of working on stuff for the group. And that made me really happy. But a lot of people were also hurt by negligent and sometimes idiotic administration. To this day, I'm still very unhappy about that. Yeah, as someone going through some of the projects people had made in the past, I saw all the love and hard work they put into their pieces. It's a shame what it all led up to. Alright, I'm gonna rapid fire the bonus questions because they're pretty much yes or no questions. Okay, sure. 1. Can I have Shroomsworth, Rhodes, other characters you made in PMD as OCs? 2. Want to be Steam friends? 3. Is it okay if I publicize this little interview? I should have prefaced that at the beginning, but I wasn't expecting a response, so I'm a massive nervous wreck right now. Don't be nervous, first off. I accepted this for a reason. Not to put off the bonus answers, but I've talked to a lot of people post-PMDE in time since then. It's something I'd really like to put behind me, but also I feel like it's important to encourage other people to be able to leave it behind in a good state of mind. So I guess that leads to my first answer to 1. I don't really mind, I don't do anything with those characters anymore. However, it is my strong encouragement that maybe it's better to leave them behind and make something new with the ideas and feelings you get from them. 2. I wouldn't mind. I have all sorts of people on my Steam friends, honestly. 3. I'm not super keen on relighting any discourse about this, but in a sense, I also don't want to keep you from doing what you want to do. Just keep in mind that this group is a sore spot for a lot of people due to some of the things described above. Yeah, I'm trying to make the best of what there is. I'm not one for discourse myself. Guess I can leave my channel here if it interests. Appreciate it. To be honest, it is a little painful to see all the old flashes and such. Thanks for taking the time to do this. It's my first time doing something like this, so apologies if it seems amateurish. Well, I'm not really used to being interviewed in such a way either. Did you get what you wanted out of it at least? I did. It's more than anything I could find online. Well, it's tough since PK kind of exploded into discourse, not to overuse the word. It's hard to find accounts of that sort that aren't overshadowed by major allegations. Yeah, it's gotten worse, I'm sure you've unfortunately heard. Sort of. I've basically been away from them for the entire time since then, and I try to stay far away from them. That's understandable. I don't want major involvement in the Floraverse side of things either. PMDE is going to be my little niche. And yeah, it was nice talking to you. That's for the best. Floraverse is its own can of worms. And sure, likewise. I'm sorry if I made you nervous. It's fine. It's pretty much like that feeling where you meet a celebrity you like. Well, if it helps, I've been pretty quiet since back then. I don't think I qualify as a celebrity in any circles. I figured being an admin in a popular group would qualify, but yeah, hope to talk to you again sometime. I suppose, but the group didn't do right by its participants, so I never feel right flaunting it. Likewise. Thanks, have a nice day. You too.